Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming to celebrate the life of our good friends and family. It's hard to put into words for all of us. It's been a tough almost 2 weeks now, 10, 12 days. And I know we're all trying to make sense of it, come to terms with it, and move on. But it's been a rough road. I got a couple people that want to come up and say some words and share some stories. So we'll get started with a couple people. We'll have John and Paula Snow come up, and they're going to kick us off with their rendition of Hello, My Baby, I guess, or something like that, right? So you might be wondering about the shirt, a Hawaiian shirt. This particular one, I'm known when we go out wheeling during the summer to wear Hawaiian shirts. And the first time Josh saw this one was at an event, and he was pulling people over going, "You got to see this shirt that Carrie's wearing. This thing is so awesome. Check out this shirt." And it's just a Hawaiian shirt with Jeeps on it. Pretty cool. So I figured since he liked that shirt so much that I would wear it today instead of getting all dressed up in a suit and tie. Well, that's not how he would have wanted it. He would have wanted it like this: casual, friendly, fun, and remembering those good times. Strange thing when we talk about Josh and Christina, it's often we just say, I want to go see Josh, or we're going to go hang out with Josh, because that's like synonymous with them because they were so inseparable. It was just one thing. It was the two of them together. I don't remember ever doing one thing with just Josh. It was just always the two of them. Talk about an inseparable couple. It was quite amazing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend John Snow and all the words that his wife wrote for him, I guess.
Well, she's gonna say her own thing.
Oh,
so hi, I'm John Snow. My wife and I have known Josh and Christina for 16 years. I'll never forget the first day meeting Josh and Christina is when my twin brother had received a call from Josh that he wanted his basement framed at his house when they moved to Castle Rock from Pennsylvania. After that, he would call me all the time to come and take care of jobs he had around the house. At one point, he even had a general contractor building his house in Diamond Ridge, and he called me and said, "I'm going to fire this guy unless he hires you to come and finish building my house." And so I had the opportunity to build his home as well. Josh was one of those guys that when he wanted something done, he wanted you there yesterday. He never wanted to have to wait. When he wasn't happy with something or not dropping everything for him, he would let you know. The thing is, he could be yelling at you, cussing your name, and the next minute, he would be wanting you to go out that night. It took me a while to realize that is Josh, and you have to look past that. We became really good friends. He would call me when he just needed to vent or was frustrated or to get some thoughts on some decisions he was making. Not that it mattered. If I didn't agree, he would do it anyways, or to just shoot the crap. I found out that hard shell he had and trying to act tough was a man who had a heart of gold. One example of this is when Josh and Christina found out that Christina's friend and her boyfriend that were back in New York were in a really bad spot and needed some help. They came up with a plan to help them out. I was at his house doing some work when he told me he was flying back to New York to pick up a rental SUV, grab the few belongings that they had, and drive them back to Colorado. They had leased an apartment already for them in Castle Rock, and the boyfriend would come and work for the company. He said he didn't know how he was going to be able to drive them back in a short period of time. He had to get this done. The two friends didn't have their licenses, so they would not be able to help drive. I told him I could come and help drive back. With a storm in New York, the day we were supposed to leave and almost all planes canceled, he was determined to find a flight. He finally found one that was still flying that evening. To make a long story short, We picked them up, drove through some pretty bad winter weather with Josh almost driving the entire way. I took over a couple times. We made it back on time, very tired, but we did it with the help of stopping at a Best Buy somewhere in Ohio for a radar detector. He never followed the rules. There were so many stories of people he helped, and he would not say anything to anyone. Didn't expect anything in return. One time when I flew back to New York with him to check on his Pennsylvania house, I was able to meet his dad, Paul and Maxine, and we were able to spend some time with them, which was a lot of fun. But the thing that I remember the most is he rented a really nice car, because that was him. He never could just drive anything. It had to be nice. I think it was a BMW. And he took me to all of the places that him and Christina lived when they were living in Brooklyn. And he would take me down all these different streets and everything. And I was a little nervous. I was like, "You lived in some of these areas?" He goes, "Yeah, man, we lived here." It was great. One other thing that I remember about Josh, he was a picky eater. We really didn't know to what extent until we would go on trips with them, and Christina had to make something different for him. He hated eating anything on the bone. He hated smoked meat until we made a smoked turkey for Thanksgiving, and he fell in love with that. The last time we went out for dinner, we ended up going to Home Depot after dinner, where he was looking at getting a smoker, which was a shock to me.
Oh.
Seafood was out of the question. And when we would talk about sushi, he would start gagging. On the other hand, when we would go out, which was almost weekly, the places we would go were so good. He would always ask where we wanted to go. And we told him, "You're going to make the decision anyways. So where are we going?" So Josh was an amazing friend. And as you said to me after we started hanging out after a bit of time, that I was like a brother to you and didn't want to ever have a long stint of not doing stuff together. Well, Josh, you were like a brother to me. Sorry. I will never forget all the fun times we had together, and with Christina and my wife, and also with our families. 4th of July's, Thanksgivings, birthdays, road trips, trips to New York, just the two of us, and one time with the four of us. All the times you tried to get under my wife's skin, and she and Christina would just roll their eyes. I love you, bud. One day, when we meet again, I cannot wait to give you a big hug and tell you how much I missed you. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Get the microphone off him. Got a little technical things we got to deal with, microphones for all the people on Zoom. So everything's situated. You all good? All right.
So when John was asked to speak here, I was like, wait, I know he's going to focus on Josh, but I was like, Christina needs something too. So I'm John's wife, Paula Snow. Obviously, I met Christina through John. So they hung out a bunch doing, working around the house, fixing things up. And they just mentioned that all four of us wanted to go out for dinner and have our families hang out together. So we had our families in common, our kids. Not that we came from the same breed, but we were sure enjoyed each other's company. oh, how Christina always wanted the best for her. I'm going to say 4 kids because I'm including Josh as well, your father.
What are you actually doing?
She had to rein him a few times, quite a few times, I'll say. So many memories. The oh so fun and epic birthday parties that you guys had were amazing. From Monster Mini Golf to monkey business, and especially at your home, whatever home you lived in. And the birthday cakes that she would find people to make, right? They lived close by. So cool.
Quite a community.
It was for whoever's birthday. It was specially made for them, whether it was a Barbie or a Jeep. Right?
On Zoom, if you could mute yourself, please, so we could hear.
Yeah, Christina had a love for cooking. Whenever she wasn't going out to eat with anyone else, her spaghetti sauce, meatballs, baked ziti, ham, lasagna, chicken parm, eggplant parm. None of her meals were inedible. She was so excited to move to their Tremolite house. And she was so excited to get a dog. Brooklyn was so aggressive. Anyone came around.
I'm being careful, but just freaking it out.
But Christina had the patience to get her trained and make her behave, right? So Brooklyn, you guys, you have like 1 or 2 pictures of her. She was not Josh's favorite dog. That was Rosie, right? But lately, obviously it's Maddie, clearly, who stole their hearts. But it's also sad to see Maddie go. And I know she was your puppy too, Dee. And Christina, obviously you can see through all the pictures. Christina loved all things Disney, but Mickey and Minnie Mouse were her top favorites. From the land to the world, Disney brought a smile to her face and she would light up. She collected many things Disney, mugs, plates, purses, shirts. I just remember I knew you guys were going to Disney because she'd always have her nails done Disney. It didn't matter. Like, it was so cool. We were drawn together as a couple. We enjoyed each other's company. So many date nights we shared together with our hubbies. Josh always trying to find the next best burger or restaurant, and then talking us into getting ice cream after eating a very large meal. And then obviously regretting it the next day, especially from him and the texts that we got. Oh my gosh, you could only imagine. But the latest was after going to dinner, we went to Costco and got a tub of chocolate chip cookies. He opened the package up while we were walking around, eating them, and kept shoving them in our faces. And then we ended up in the parking lot, and he was offering them to people. And they're like, yeah, no way, no thanks, I'm good. Like, he's like, come on, have a chocolate chip cookie. We valued each other's thoughts and opinions in the role of being a parent and how tough it could be at times when our kids were testing our limits or sharing the most rewarding times with each other. We would share stories of what was happening in our lives or the lives of the kids from the past few days, week, or month, and how we're going to miss their friendship greatly. A few of the most memorable stories would be like when their cat Mickey ran away from home at their kettle house. Remember that? They'd find the collar in the neighbor's tree, or they would find him resting in the grass with a fox. And then he also ran away at their current house a month later, right? Yeah.
Ow.
That was your mom's cat too, huh? That was her cat. I remember Felix too. So these are the kinds of stories we'd hear at date night, right? So, oh, we bought a Jeep and we've been four-wheeling and it's so fun and you should come and you should buy one too. So we're like, yeah, you won't see us on a trail probably. But we've enjoyed every video that's been posted. While we were thinking every time that they were crazy for doing it. Josh was just so crazy. And then another time when Josh's Jeep decides to roll down the driveway because he didn't block the tires, and Christina tries to stop it and grabs the bumper while it's still going down the driveway, which is when I think of one of the first videos that started their whole Instagram. Yeah. So, and then another time, Christina surprised us with, "Oh yeah, we found my brother." And we were like, "You have a brother?" So welcome, Vinny. We are so glad you're here. So RV trips, the road trips, just the past few years, Christina was thinking of starting an Italian food truck with her Italian cuisine and figuring out where and how to get it started, but they never did. Christina completed her real estate license and wanted to try and fix and flip houses. She got certified to almost every cruise company so that they could plan on go on more cruising together and one day take their kids. That's why you have your passports already. One evening, we were at dinner and she told us that she had gotten a job. Josh had gotten up to use the restroom, and she was so excited to tell us that she had gotten a job at Douglas County doing food. We were so shocked just because she was okay to leave Josh's side. Like, she needed those few hours a day, right? Just to get away. But look, that's not happening because they're still together, right? So she was his right-hand woman, her sidekick, her confidant. I loved seeing her roll her eyes at Josh whenever he would make a crude joke and try to get me to laugh, supposedly because I don't smile much. And he knew I didn't like the jokes, he would tell, so he just kept trying. So I stopped rolling my eyes, or actually I still do. I did. There's so many stories, great times we had with our friends. They were surely loved by many and will be missed greatly. We love you, Christina and Josh, like family, and we know you are in a better place and will watch over us. Dee, Josh, Kaylee, your parents loved you. We talked about you on a regular basis. They were truly trying to get you guys to get along, to love each other, and how to be the best parent for you, and what was the best way. I wanted to end with a poem that I found. It's called She's Gone, but I changed it to They by David Harkins. You can shed tears that they are gone, or you can smile because they have lived. You can close your eyes and pray that they will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that they have left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see them. There's open caskets, or you could be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember them and only that they are gone, or you can cherish their memory and live in it. Live it on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what they would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on.
Thank you, Paula. If other people would like to speak, we'll call some people up in a little bit. Next up, I'm going to have Brennan. Come on up, buddy. But if anyone else would like to, we'll just kind of get to the back of the room there, and we'll get to you as we can. Thanks, bud. And here's Brennan.
Do a little height adjustment. And yeah, the TikTok and Instagram video about the drive shaft, and never let him live that one down. Thank you for being here today. Celebrate the lives of Josh and Christina Gilson. I've personally known them for about 5 years. And it's been a long and fulfilling 5 years, but a long 5 years indeed. I first met Josh in the off-roading community, a place where a passion for adventure and a love of connection are woven into the very fabric of the people who share it. He came into my shop around the time of an accident of my own, and little did I know that our first encounter would mark the beginning of a friendship that would forever change my life. In those early days, Joshua was just a customer, and a very persistent one at that. I felt like my phone was glued in my hand because he'd call constantly. What's the status of my Jeep? Will it be ready this weekend? I have a trail ride Friday. Can you guarantee it'll be done? And if I was on the phone with somebody else and he saw that my calls weren't getting answered, that wasn't a problem for him because he had multiple other numbers to try to call from. At the time, it might have been overwhelming, but as I got to know him, I realized it wasn't about the Jeep. It was about his drive to live life to the fullest, to always be ready for the next adventure. He wanted to soak up every moment to share his passion with his family and to make sure the people around him did the same. As our relationship deepened, Joshua became more than a customer. He became part of my own world. One day he showed up at the shop with a whole new phone system for us, tired of the Walmart phones we were walking around with because they didn't have hold music. And that's just something that he would do, completely unannounced and wanting to invest anything and everything he could offer into the friends of his. Josh and Christina weren't just connectors in the off-road world, they were connectors in life. They had this incredible ability to bring people together, whether it was family dinners, off-roading trips, or just casual hangouts. They were the glue that kept so many groups together. They made everyone feel like they belonged and like they were part of something bigger. In their home, it was a place of warmth, love, and community. If you were lucky enough to step through their door, you were family. They welcomed everyone with open arms, and the three beautiful children, Deanna, Josh, and Kaylee, are a testament to the love and the care that Josh and Christina poured into their lives and the lives of everybody around them. Family was their foundation. I quickly learned that if you wanted to see them at around 5 to 6 p.m., it was probably not going to happen because that was family dinner night. Those moments were sacred to them as it was a time that they would share stories, laughter, and love, and a tradition that exemplified the way that they lived their lives with intention, with love, and a deep sense of togetherness. Their sense of community extended far beyond their own family. They were always the first to rally everyone together, whether it was for an event, to check in, you were having a struggling day, or as Josh would, if he was having a struggling day, he would bring it in with you. But always there to just communicate and be there for one another. They were the heart of every group that they were a part of, constantly encouraging others to connect and support one another. No words can take away the pain of this loss, but I know that Josh, Christina, and Maddie are still with us in a different way. Their legacy lives on in the three beautiful kids they left behind, in the friendships they nurtured, and in the memories we all share. We love you, we miss you, and until we see each other again.
Hi, my name is Barry. I met Christina and Josh when I worked in Edwards, and I happened to like her. I wanted to date her at one time. And Christina said, I don't like you like that, but I like your friend Josh. So he asked me, is it okay if I date Christina? He said, sure. I said, the one thing to ask me, he goes, if I ever have kids, I want the kids to come to the wedding. I said, if I have kids, I want you to, when the kids get married, for you guys to go to a wedding and have a big family and have a happy family. And I was like, yeah, I was very touched by that. I was like, yeah, I'll set you guys up. And then every time when Christina would come to Brooklyn, she would mention about the kids. She'd be like, my son and my daughter, they taller than me. She'd be like, I don't understand. She would tell my wife, Danielle, I was like, I don't understand. Like, my kid, I'm like this, and my kids are like this growing up. She goes, I don't understand. Every time I came to Brooklyn, that would be the other thing that she would tell Danielle. She would always say that. She'd be like, oh, my kids did this, my kids did this. But I'm glad that I put them together. I'm glad that, I actually set them up and they got married and they had 3 beautiful children. And I'm touched by that. And when Josh found out, and Christina, that my parents passed away, he flew all the way to Brooklyn. So trying to do the same thing. It's very hard, but we all got to come together as one big family now. All right. I love you.
Thanks, Barry. So I figure I'll get started and see how quickly I can get through this. I don't know that I've ever had to do anything really this hard before. And not just emotionally hard, it's because I struggled to summarize nearly 2 decades of friendship into something short enough for you to all tolerate listening to. I don't know that I succeeded. Josh and Christina weren't simply close friends to me. They were the definition of family. We hung out, we vacationed together, we spent many holidays together. I watched their terrific kids grow up to be wonderful human beings, hopefully. We'll see how that works out. We laughed together, we cried together, we ran businesses together. Josh and I would fight, yell, scream at each other. But 5 minutes later, if one of us needed something, the other one was there. Anyone that knew them, or especially Josh, knew that he could be hard to be friends with. You either loved him or you hated him. There really wasn't a fine line in there somewhere. But as you got to know him and you became friends with him, you got past that hard exterior. They were different than I am. I can probably count the number of close personal friends I have on probably 1 or 2 hands. He had hundreds of close friends. The off-road community is incredible. The amount of people that call him a friend is insane. Unfortunately, I had a role in getting that started. One day, he needed to go run home from work, and his car was in the shop getting window tint, so I let him borrow my Jeep. He runs home, comes back, they take it for lunch. The next day, they buy theirs. That was the end of it. You know Josh, he doesn't do anything subtly. Right? He is, if he's into something, he's all in. And that's what Rubistina was. That Jeep was all in. And that's the Josh that we know. Doesn't do anything half-ass. If he's going to do it, he's going to go full blast. They found the perfect match in that off-road world. A hobby that they loved, with people they enjoyed doing it with, that enjoyed the same things, that they could relate to, in a world with dozens, if not hundreds, of people they would end up calling friends. They were the most giving people I have ever met. And literally, I could write a book on how many times they've been there for me. I'm going to share one of my favorite stories. This happened last year. I was or all of us were in Moab for Easter Jeep Safari. And while I was out there, the engine in my Jeep blew up. I couldn't drive home. They had a 7-hour drive home with their truck. They were towing their Jeep back, which had broke. Otherwise, we would have just put my trailer on their Jeep and just driven back. But they couldn't help me right then and there. So I arranged to get my Jeep and a trailer to Grand Junction, get it on a tow truck or a flatbed for the next day to get home. They were an hour away from getting home. Again, after 6 hours of driving, he calls me for an update. I tell him it's all set, no big deal. He's like, how much is that going to cost? I said, it's about $1,500. He said, I can't let you do that. I'm going to come get you. They loaded up their other Jeep, turned right around, drove 6 hours back to Grand Junction. We stayed the night in a hotel, and the next morning, we loaded up my trailer on his other Jeep, put my broken Jeep on the trailer, and headed home. That's the Josh I'm going to remember. The guy who would go out of his way, no matter what, to help me out. So that's not an isolated story. I have so many stories like that, whether it be vehicle, personal, financial. He always wanted to be there. He would be upset with me if I didn't call him first, if I needed something. We had a set routine. Almost every single night, they would drive to McDonald's to get Rosie a cheeseburger. Don't judge, okay? But on that drive, they would call us, call my wife and I at home. So 9:30 at night, no matter what I'm doing, watching a movie, watching TV, there's Josh, boom. And we're going to talk for 30, 45 minutes every night. My phone's silent now. I think of something I want to do that he would disagree with, and I'm going to miss those arguments. Every time we would do that, Christina would just laugh at both of us for arguing over something stupid. I want to share a quote a friend of ours sent to me the other day from Keanu Reeves, of all people. Strange, and it's not a Matrix reference. He said, "Pain changes shape, but it never disappears. You can't control what hurts or break you, but you can control how you choose to move forward. Fight for what you love because no one else will do it for you. Every moment in your life is an opportunity to change who you are. Don't define yourself by what you lost, but by what you do with what's left." Deanna, Josh, Kaylee, I wish I could sear that quote into your head. The pain doesn't go away. It'll change. It'll get different. But every day is precious. And we need to live and enjoy life to its fullest because we know that's what they would want for all of us. I was supposed to go on a trip last week, and if I don't do it soon, he's going to haunt me. I just know it. Don't let this define who you are. Define yourself by what you do moving forward. All three of you have amazing potential, and I'm going to enjoy watching you grow into adults. It's been hard. Rob, do the song now. You guys also picked this song, and I had it on my list that I wanted to play. It was a special song to Josh, had some meaning to him from a couple years ago, but I can't think of one that's better, that fits our friendship, our bond together, any better than this. Hopefully they got my cue. That's too.
Standing right here talking to you about another time. I know we love it if we know you're black, but something told me that it wouldn't have mattered. And it's good stuff. Look at things, difference for the bigger picture. Don't work a day, hard work forever paid. Not see you in the fair play. Talk about when you feel you saw how we glad. Everything I was doing, you was standing there with my smile. And I can go be good if you're I'll shoot my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. Come on, where we began. Let's build a strong, I'm small, turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And we're struggling with comfort, and the line will never be crossed. We captured on that line, had to keep running that line, and what we do, so we'll never get enough bond. Come on, where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
I'll spare you the rest of my stories till later. All right. Thank you, everyone. This is Mark. Come on up, Mark. Hopefully he can have some uplifting words for us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Isn't it interesting, as we were watching the slideshow, that somebody would say a word or something and a picture matched it just at the right time? Something about Disney, and then there was a Disney picture. But I have two questions about some of the pictures that I saw. One was, there's a picture in there of Josh lying in bed, and there's a pillow that says, "Better Christina." You guys remember seeing that? Is there a pillow that says "Worse Josh"? For better, for worse? And then the other one is the poop head hat right there. I want a poop head hat right there. I want one of those. So as we gather today with heavy hearts, mourning the loss of two very precious lives, Josh and Christina. The tragedy that has brought us here is one that nobody can be prepared for. And there are no easy answers for moments like this. I have been in a situation just like this myself. And there are lots of unanswerable questions. The biggest one is why? How could this happen? And what do we do now? So as we stand together in this place of grief, I want to speak to you three. I know that it's a struggle to understand how do you move forward when life has suddenly changed in ways that you never imagined. In the book of Ecclesiastes, we read, "To everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance.
Then they keep playing this really sad music.
And I know that it would be wonderful for us to do life without any mourning or grieving or sadness. But if that were the case,
I'm going back
then you
downstairs.
can't have joy and laughter.
Are you taking a
and
nap?
joy.
I don't know, I lost you, you disappeared
I-
from me.
On
I'm
this
gonna go
planet, we
make
have
some
to have
coffee
both.
and clean up
That was like
downstairs.
45 minutes ago.
No, it
We
wasn't
can't
45
just
minutes
have
ago.
neutrality.
Not even
We
close.
have to have those poles on the opposite side.
No, it wasn't.
We understand
It was like 30 minutes.
joy
Maybe 30.
when we understand sorrow.
I don't need to watch
We know that
this.
life is filled with seasons, and often those seasons are beyond our control.
I'm gonna die when it's our time.
The pain of losing our loved ones is deep, and there is no escaping the mourning.
You done with your laundry,
Today.
sir?
But it is a matter to remember. It is
Now do you
important
see
to
why
remember
it
that
takes so long
mourning
to stay
itself is
upstairs?
part of a cycle of life.
Hey, Jacqueline, mute your phone.
We are allowed to grieve. We are allowed to feel loss. And I think it's awesome
Well, you've been
that
upstairs
we
an
have
awfully
within
long time doing
Jacqueline,
laundry.
mute your
ability to
phone.
have those feelings. Deanna, Josh, and Kaylee, I know your hearts are heavy. In the blink of an eye, your lives were changed. It's as though the ground beneath you has shifted, and now everything that was right is upside down. The shock of such a loss can be paralyzing. And there are times when it may feel like the weight of the world is too much to bear. But I want you to know that even in your pain, you are not alone. You know, I don't know if you've had a chance to turn around and see who's here, but there are a lot of people here that love you. God, our Heavenly Father, has not abandoned you. The path ahead will be hard. And yes, there will be times when you feel lost, but I want to remind you of a very powerful truth in one of the Psalms that says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and he saves the crushed in spirit." That comes from Psalm 34. In your grief, the Lord, our Heavenly Father, is near. When you feel alone, he is close. When it feels like the weight is too much to carry, he will be there to help you bear it. It's natural after such a tragic loss to feel a sense of anger and confusion, and sometimes even betrayal. Why them? Why now? But I want to encourage the three of you. Don't let anger take root in your heart. It's okay to question. It's okay to cry out. But let those emotions draw you towards God rather than away from Him. The pain is real. I see lots of tears here. But holding on to anger will only keep you in a place of darkness. Remember that the Lord is a loving Father, one who has seen the sorrows of his people and generation. He lost a son too. In the book of Job, which is often called the book of suffering, Job loses everything: his wealth, his health, all of his children. And even though Job is filled with anguish and frustration, he never lets go of his relationship with God. In fact, he says, "Though he slay me, I will trust him." Your grief is valid. And it's okay to feel anger, but I urge you to lean on God through it. Talk about it. Write things down. He sees your tears, and he will hold you through this. While there is a time for mourning, it is also a time to remember that life continues. We cannot bring back the ones we have lost. But we can honor their memory by how we live moving forward. I love that one right there. I have heard it said that the soul lives on in the deeds and the memories and the love that we continue to carry in our hearts. The lives of Josh and Christina were not without purpose. They love the love that they shared, and it's amazing what I've heard today. The lessons they taught you and the ways that they nurtured your hearts are all a part of their legacy. You will carry their legacy. You will carry who they are the rest of your lives. You'll remember the laughter. You'll remember the words. I love the one video of your dad jumping over the couch at Christmas time. I can only imagine what that looked like and sounded like. Even in their death, they continue to shape who you are and who you will become. I saw a quote once that said, "Whoever saves a life, it is as if he has saved an entire world." Though they are no longer with us in this world, Josh and Christina saved lives. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. Their lives impacted everyone. Everyone they encountered, it sounds like, had an impact in one way or another. And you will carry that with you forever. So one more thing, let me share a small story with you from nature. There is a tree that grows in the desert, a tree called the acacia. It's a resilient tree. It can grow in extreme conditions without water, rocky soil, drought. Even when there seems to be no water around, it sends down its roots deep in search for water, drawing moisture from places that don't seem like you could get them. And in many ways, grief is like a desert. It can feel dry, barren, without hope. But even in the dry seasons of life, we can be like those acacia trees. We may feel as though we are alone in the wilderness. We have the ability to send our roots deep, deep into the love of family, deep into the love of memories of the ones we lost, and deep into the unshakable support of God. Just as the tree continues to grow and bear fruit despite the harsh conditions, so too can you continue to grow. You are strong, and with time, the pain will ease. It may not feel like that now, but it will ease. It'll be different. It'll never go away, but it will change. So you be like that acacia tree, resilient and strong. Okay? So all gathered here today, I know that today feels impossible, but I promise, day by day, moment by moment, you will find a way forward. There will be dark days, there will also be light. You are not alone in your grief, and you do not have to carry it alone. God is with you. Family is with you. There's a whole big community that is with you. We're not just going to take this time to remember you now, but we're going to keep tabs on you, contact you in the future. You have a lot of support right now. It's important for us all to keep it up, right? As the days, weeks, years go on. So I'm going to leave you with a little blessing. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says, "May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn towards you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. Well, since I have the microphone, I have the last word. So we're going to go with that. We're all going to have such crazy memories and thoughts. You know, I look at and think, you know, we're going to build another vehicle this year. I'm not going to have the argument with him because I know he would disagree with how we're going to build it. And I broke down crying thinking, we're not going to have that argument. That's just so weird. There's a prodding that I could do. I knew how to push his buttons. We'd be out somewhere, we're driving around, and he would stop at a yellow light. I'd go, but Chris would run it. You know, I could get under his skin so easily. It was so much fun. And those are the little things that I'm going to miss. And we're all going to have those little tidbits with us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Thank you all for coming. I know it means a lot to the family. It means a lot to me to have all the support here from everybody. We can't thank you enough for what you've done already and what you're going to continue to do. Vinny, my new brother, you know, working together to get so much stuff done. Thank you all so much.